I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM players, and who are you expecting if it wasn't for us? Why'd you be
That's
here?
an incredibly good point.
Yeah, why would you be here?
Right.
Anyway, it is a Thursday afternoon here. It is
As always.
kind of nice here too. It's sunny. It's been nice the last 3 weeks,
It's
3 days.
Thursday afternoon once a week.
Once a week, every Thursday. That's
Pretty much. I think once in a while on a leap year, it's every Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
oh well.
It's Thursday afternoon on Wednesday.
Is this a leap year?
No.
I didn't think so.
And it isn't Thursday afternoon on Wednesday, even during a leap year. But
Thursday afternoon on Wednesday. That's a hard one to.
Oh, Sven did find a language.
Well, before we get to Sven, we are the CRM players, and guess what? We've been bringing whatever that is for about 17 years now.
Can you imagine? 17 friggin' years.
Yeah, look at my beard that I can definitely imagine.
Yeah.
I should be shaved though. I really should be shaved at this point, but because of the little incident at my house, I didn't have to go on the road, so I get to stay at home and be looking like this.
Works.
Lucky me. Yeah. Anyway, we are CRM players, and it is that time for the moment of Sven.
Oh boy. Portuguese.
By the way, it looks like somebody else is guessing what that. Oh, okay.
It probably says what?
I think you and we can't even call him a guess. I mean,
Yeah. Mitigar risco extinção.
By the way, he said what you said, and then he ended. I'm translating, not guessing. So he's
I'm saying Portuguese.
He's definitive.
Okay, I'm guessing, but I don't speak Portuguese, but I'm saying Portuguese.
All right, Sven. So let us know if both the Godfather and the irascible one, who we haven't seen yet today, if they're right. It sounds like the irascible one is extremely confident, so I'm guessing it's right.
People in his country, or country of origin, spoke it. Well, some of them. Actually, it's not. They spoke mostly Spanish and Italian.
Well,
now I think of it.
Doesn't he speak like a lot of those languages? I know
he's multilingual. He can say bad words in Turkish.
Apparently,
he can make bad gestures in Turkish.
Yeah, he's doing it right now. By the way, he just did. Anyway, yes, we'll wait for Sven to let us. Well, to just back up the.
And by the way,
confident. Sven, there it is. All right,
thank you for making it too.
I have no more idea.
I get no. It was right.
Yeah, you said Portuguese. Yeah.
No, he was saying we're running out of languages for me to be wrong.
Man.
I'm right most of the time. Is what I was trying to
say. And Esteban actually did translate it. So
well, you know what, Sven? The thing is, you've caught me a few times lately, so keep going. I mean, I know I'm good at this, but at the same time, I don't speak any of them, right? So keep going, because you've got me good on a few, and they have, like the one you got me twice. Well, yeah, no, you actually got me twice on Mongolian. And the irony is, one of the areas of study in my life is the Genghis Khan and his empire. So theoretically, I should know at least something of Mongolian, but I don't.
I know something of Mongolian just because I think Shaka Khan is a descendant from Genghis Khan. So,
I see.
Right.
Yeah, they have the same last.
Yeah,
Well, his real name was Temujin, but.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Yes, it was 13th century.
Anyway, we got to keep things moving because we got a lot to get into. We're reassembling the crew since we kind of left off at lots of stuff going on. So we're bringing them back. But before we can bring anybody back, we need to do this. We need to say we're like getting down to the nitty gritty here. A month from today, actually. A month from today.
Yeah, wait. Today's the 12th. Yeah, a month from today. Holy crap. Well, we are waiting. We have one last agenda slot to fill out, and we're ready to go. We're just waiting on a response from somebody in particular. But it's power packed this time. I mean, we have. Well, we told you a lot about the actual content of the agenda. There's going to be a few surprises, not on the agenda per se, but a few things we're going to do that will be surprising and fun in some cases. The other thing is, though, we're getting ready to, for those of you who can't actually attend or haven't decided not to attend, we are getting the virtual conference ready. And keep in mind, it's not the same. Yes, it's going to have the speeches and everything else going on, but the experience is going to be quite different. And we are proud to say the virtual host for the PPN Playaz watch party is the inestimable and esteemed Adrian Swinsko out of the UK. For those of you who don't for those of you who don't know Adrian, he is I don't know I guess is the author of or the originator of what's called CX Punk, right? And Adrian does things really well. He's very innovative. He's got that kind of droll British humor going all the time. He's also highly experienced, and he's going to host the Playaz Watch Party. And then there are a few other things we're planning with our new platform partner, Kaltura, that are going to be very cool. And so what I would highly recommend is that if you're not planning on attending, though the in-person experience is always better than the virtual one, no matter what you do, right? It's just going to be better because you see actual people, right? But if you can't come, I would highly look out next week for announcements early next week for announcements in a lot of places on how to register for the virtual event. Yeah. It's really important that you do register, though, because it's going to be carried a little differently than last year.
And we do have a few just quick little session promos.
Fire away, sir.
There you go. What about this one?
Well, I don't know. If you don't know John Reed, a.k.a. Brohammer, and the Cowboy, Brian Summer, you're in for, I would say a treat, but it's sort of you're in for like a treat if you like body slams as a treat, right? So these guys are powerhouses, and they're funny, and they are, let's say, irony dominates a lot of how they present, but they are really, really good, and their analysis and insight. And we don't even know exactly what they have planned, right?
Well, we know one thing.
Well,
whenever Brian Summers around, there's going to be lots of, some slides.
Yeah.
We're going to have to limit the slides for Brian. But
not only that, we have to expand on the Dr. Pepper.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's how the only reason he's even coming and being a part of this is we promised pretty much an endless supply of Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper for the entire day. He's got free Dr. Pepper. So this is one of the earliest sessions, and this is going to be awesome. I mean, the two of them have been actually doing, what is it, monthly?
Yeah, they do like the enterprise hits and misses thing.
Yeah, it's like a roundup every month on stuff. And again, I don't know what they have planned specifically, but
they don't
know. It's going to be good.
Yeah. And now this one is going to be interesting. You've seen these two guys. These two guys being Ray Wang and Vala Offshore. They've been doing Disrupt TV for I don't know how long. A long time.
It's 5 years now?
Nah, it's got to be more than that. I would think.
Well, maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's truth to be told. It's 6-7 years, maybe.
But look at that. Look at they've been doing it for that long, and they're still smiling. Isn't that nice?
Unlike us.
Yeah.
After 17 years,
we can't smile anymore. But we are going to have a special, and we call this the Intercontinental edition of Disrupt TV, mainly because Vala will be live with us at the Atlanta Tech Village, March 12th in Atlanta Buckhead. Just put that up there. And coming all the way through, was it Munich? I think he's going to be in Munich. Ray Wang will be joining us virtually from Munich. So it's going to be the Intercontinental edition of Disrupt TV. Never done before, as far as I know.
And live on a main stage at the same time.
Wait a minute. On the main,
not just in the community room. This is going to be on the main stage.
Oh yeah. Well, that's good stuff. And those are just two of the many different things you will see when you come either virtually or right here to Atlanta to IRL 26.
And that's just the main stage stuff. You should see what we got planned for the community room. It's going to be a good one. And there's going to be a brand new, we're going to try something. We'll talk about it next week, though. Just in the interest of time, we'll talk about that and a couple other things next week and what we're planning on the community room side, which is really cool. And I will tell you one thing, though. I'm launching a new show.
Oh, wow. What's the name of it?
It's the name you gave it, man. It was the best. This is such a good name.
It's a good name.
You know what? Even if I didn't have a show planned, just the fact when Brent came up with this as a title, it's like I wrote The Commonwealth of Self-Interest, mostly that book, because I really love the turn of the phrase Commonwealth of Self-Interest. So I said, you know what? That's such a good title. I can't waste it. So I need to write a book on it. Right. And this is the same thing. I had to start a show just because Brent came up with Rated PG. Now, what is better than that for me? Think about it. And how many people can do it? There's only a certain group of people who can actually do that show.
Well, we do know that you have created a community of Paul Greenbergs around the world. So
yes, and then that's who anybody, I guess, with PG as initials could do it. But
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but Rated PG. Think about it. Now, Ray Wang could do Rated R.
Yeah, but
it loses it there.
Yeah,
not as interesting.
Anyway, so we will all stay tuned to see the very first Rated PG at IRL 26. That's a lot of letters and numbers,
and that's where you'll see us bringing the AZ
if we figure out what it is beforehand. But you know what? Something happened at last year's IRL that we are really excited to talk about for a couple of minutes here. And I see a couple of the folks that we need to talk about this.
Well, it's all we need, a couple of them.
Actually, they're the only two. All right. So you've seen this young man on our show numerous times before. I think along with Johan Reed, I call him, and both of them actually, the best beards, and because mine is terrible. These guys have really serious, great looking beards. And one of those guys is here right now. It is John Bruno. And coming along with John Bruno is another one of our favorite people. You want to intro her real quick?
Oh, yeah. So for those who don't know, the company that you now see next to John's name, which you wouldn't have seen until recently, the company you've now seen next to John's name used to be called BPM Online. And when we did CRM Idol in 2011, they were the first winners ever when it was still in Ukraine.
2011, right?
2011.
Damn.
At the time, one of the people who participated specifically in that was a person who later became and created the job, really, and learned how to do it. Their CMO, which was Olga Noha. And Olga's one of these people who just says, okay, we need this. I'll learn it. We'll do it. And it gets done. Just happens. At a certain point, while she was a Creatio. She was at BPM Online, became Creatio. She left for a little while, came back to Creatio recently. And, you can always tell when Olga's there, it's a different company. And Olga, on the other hand, you think, okay, what is that good? She's probably
she's that good. We should probably bring her on right now.
No, narcissistic, egotistical. She's one of the nicest people in the universe. Seriously.
All right, and we got them both here with us right now. First of all, thanks for joining us on really short notice. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Brent, thank you for having us.
And you got the intros absolutely right. Olga's amazing and everything, and I have a good beard.
Well, Brent didn't let me do that one.
Between the
two of you, I would have taken up literally 22 minutes.
Yeah, really. All right, so we will be seeing you guys in about a month, but we had to come on right now and talk about the reason that you guys even know each other and now work with each other at this
Sort
point.
of that.
Kind of, yeah, well, a little
Yeah.
bit of that, you know. How did John actually end up at Creatio? Can you tuck us through kind of like the high level view of how this all happened?
Olga, you want to tell the story? You want me to tell the story?
I'll start. Actually, we had a pleasure of working with John during his times at Forrester. He was the one wonderful analyst who owned SFA Wave and covered Creatio at the time. But we haven't had a chance to work together closely after that time. And no, it was a while ago, right? So it was such a pleasure to reconnect with John after all these years at IRL 2025. Very unexpected. So, but wonderful to have that amazing members of the CRM community at IRL 2025 so many years later. And now, who could even imagine that a year later, both of us will be working together at Creatio? I should say, at the time of IRL 2025, I wasn't with Creatio yet either. Right? We joined after, so none of us was at Creatio at the time of IRL 2025. Both of us are at Creatio now as we talk.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, we had worked together back in the time of Forrester, and you know, what better place than IRL 2025 to just get reacquainted with so many old friends and familiar faces. It was a lot easier for me to do that during the Forrester days because I was going to every event, right? Yeah. And when I was working for my last company, you know, I was focused on things that were internal in our own event. So it was a good opportunity to kind of lift my head up, look around, get reacquainted with a lot of folks that I had known for so many years, Olga being one of them. And she was like, you know, you've got to start, you know, meeting some of the other folks at Creatio, some of the new faces that are part of the growth. And so she introduced me to a number of folks, one of those folks being Burley Kawasaki. And we stayed in touch, you know, for a while. And then with my last company, you know, going through an acquisition and me figuring out what's next, you know, I reached back on out, met with Burley, got coffee with Olga. And next thing you know, I am now 9 days into my role at Creatio.
That's awesome. So what are you doing? Well, actually, Olga, since you're new, you just went back too. Why don't you talk about what you're doing, and then John, why don't you talk about what you're doing?
Absolutely. And, you know, for me, as I said, I rejoined Creatio back in 2025. I know that when passion meets purpose, great things happen, right? So for me, I had a passion to, for the past 20 years, to helping many great organizations grow through marketing, and the purpose of helping people work smarter, faster, and easier through technology innovations. And that's where Creatio is, where this passion met the purpose, because that's what Creatio does. Freedom, agility, challenge and legacy. We've always known there should be a better way of doing things, and that automation should adjust to your business, not the other way around. That AI is capable of delivering measurable outcomes autonomously, yet it shouldn't replace and will not replace people, right? Because we know the future of enterprise workflow automation is bringing these two worlds together. The world where autonomous agents are doing their job and running workflows end to end, but also human-led workflows where people work faster and smarter, using AI agents as assistants. So for me, getting back to Creatio was where my passion for marketing met the purpose of helping people work smarter and achieve more through innovations in technology.
And John?
Yeah, and for me, so I joined Creatio last week as the global head of manufacturing. And if I kind of just think back, I won't go through the whole annals of history of my career. It's always been spent at the intersection of business and technology, right? I've had roles that have been squarely in R&D. I've had roles that have been more on marketing and go to market. And at Creatio, I'll bring both of those skill sets together to really shape our product strategy, right? Reducing time to value for manufacturers and distributors leveraging our platform, bring a lot of focus on AI and how agentic AI in particular can drive more automation, more autonomy for manufacturers, distributors, many of whom are still running legacy technologies, right? They have a chance now to not only catch up, but leapfrog the pack, and also help shape how we bring those solutions to market, and really get Creatio out there.
Well, first of all, that's a great story. And what I just heard from that is if it wasn't for IRL 26, you guys wouldn't be where you are. That's kind of
But we hear from pretty much everything anyone says.
but also thanks to you and Creatio for being a part of IRL 26 by sponsoring what we're calling our Heather Cam, which we'll tell you a little bit more about at some point. But it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I guarantee you guys will, aside from finding maybe some future other future Creatio employees, you're going to really like this one. I mean, I don't know. Look, you know how it is. Things are organic. So the first one was the first one, and the sequels are never like, you always worry the sequel.
Well, Godfather 2 was just as good as Godfather 1.
Well,
maybe better.
It was actually better than Godfather 1. I'd say that's probably the one exception in the universe. But well, that's like when we did the BPT training and social CRM training, and people, it was like Woodstock. We accidentally snowed in, right, for 5 days. And then people said, let's do another one. And I literally said, did you ever watch Woodstock 2? And
No.
we didn't do one, right? So this time, though, I think we might exceed. It's going to be fun. I promise you'll have a good time. And the content's really different. Definitely different. Still right brain, though. Still 100% squarely right brain. There is no left brain content.
IRL 2025, it combined this warmth of the community, sharp industry insights, great connection overall, right? So for me, it was the most heartwarming event in the CRM space that I've been part of. Looking forward to 2026.
That will happen again. I know that just because who's there.
Yeah, but I think the heartwarming also is the Scotch and.
Well, no, this time it's Kentucky. This time it's not Scotch. We're doing Irish whiskey.
Yeah, but that was last
Irish
year.
whiskey and donuts, but not as a pairing. Two separate taste offs.
Look what you guys have to look forward to. I tell you.
And I guarantee if you like bourbon, you'll like Irish whiskey.
And are we going to see how much the large language models have improved year over year in terms of how you landed on what whiskeys and what?
Yeah, sort of. I had to make some command decisions on this one a little more than last year.
Okay.
All right.
Was the way it came back.
Thanks so much for taking the time to do this. Thanks for joining us next month. And thanks for actually being a part of the whole IRL 26 experience.
It's
Thank
awesome.
you very much.
Yeah.
All right, bye, guys. We'll see you in March.
Again.
Okay, we'll see you in a month. Bye.
And thanks again.
All right. That was cool.
It always is. I love those two anyway.
Yeah, but it's also cool that they ended up like working together, and they weren't even, neither of them were at Creatio about a little over a year ago, and now they're
the first thing I've heard. Tony Keskinen, you know Tony, who was there last year. He has a Finnish company that does RevOps. You know what he told me?
No.
He told me the other day most of the people who are working with him, he met them at IRL 2025. Most of the people are like helping him, advising, advising him and all that stuff. He met them at IRL 2025, and that's multiple people. There's, I think 4 that I saw that were there. So we are a laboratory.
so you come to IRL 26 and get a new job or something like that.
That's right.
We're not promising that. Just let you guys know.
Show up.
By the way, send a shout out to Gilbert. How do you say? Is it Mba? Maybe
Mba. I get Mba. Is that correct, Gilbert?
I'll just call him Gil or Gilbert. And first of all, thanks for joining us, and yeah, thanks for hanging out. We've never seen him here before.
No, he's a new guy.
Very
Hey,
cool.
if you're interested in IRL 2026, let us know. Let us know in the comments.
Absolutely. All right. So we got a couple of minutes before we bring the crew on. So I'm gonna actually kind of set the stage. And by the way, hopefully Dennis will join us because I see our other two. I call them OGs, but that's I don't know if we should call them OGs.
It's okay.
Long timers?
LGs?
LTs?
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 Nah.
No, that's Lawrence Taylor. Man.
Is
Can't do that.
Be upset with that one.
And one of our one of the OGs is doing that weird finger thing he was
That
talking
Turkish thing.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, moving on. We'll keep an eye out for the third OG. Hey, LG, whatever the hell the person. All right. So I think just before we got on, started the show, trying to make sure I see this right. Yeah. Just before we got on the show, this came across on Seeking Alpha. Everything that we've been talking about with what do they call it? The SaaS apocalypse or something like that. Whatever. All the AI bubble talk, and it had been around how much money is being thrown at companies like OpenAI and Anthropic by like 6 companies. And we've seen how the stock market has just gone nuts because nobody knows what to make out of this, And then this comes across just literally 5 minutes before we started the show. Anthropic raises $30 billion at a $380 billion valuation, includes money from NVIDIA, Microsoft, like the usual suspects. All right. So this is not a Stump the Godfather question, but I had to ask because I was like, $380 billion valuation? How much was their valuation just a year ago? Do you want to take a guess?
I don't know, 3 billion. I have no idea.
That would be that would be over $100 billion X growth in a year. I don't think it's
that's 100 billion X evaluation.
What is?
He meant he couldn't get on for some reason. I think he couldn't get on the.
Oh, okay. I
stream. Now he's in.
Okay. I thought I was talking about getting in.
No.
Be careful. You and I could be
OG. You know why?
All right, Ed.
It stands for old geezer.
Damn. Once again, there's hand gestures going on in the green room, just to let you know. All right. So here is what it was a year ago. Actually, this is what Gemini. Did I say Gemini?
Yes.
Gemini said the valuation trajectory. February of 2024 was 18.4 billion. Last year, March, not even a year. 61.5. Now 380 billion.
20x in
That's a 20x in 2 years.
In 2 years.
20x their valuation went into. So I was like, that's a lot. Then I so what's going on with OpenAI? Let's see what their trajectory is.
You know what? Valuations to me a big giant joke.
It is, but this is real money.
Well, no, it's valuations, not real money. It's
the money is the real money is based on the valuation, so it is real money.
I mean, it'll lead to some real money, but it isn't.
But their trajectory is 86 billion to what is that 800? I can't see.
Basically 10x.
Theirs is 10x, and going back to Anthropic, theirs is over 20x actually.
You know what real money is to me? Their revenues. That's real money.
Well, that's partially real money, and that's hopefully what actually the revenues and the earnings and all that does catch up to these ridiculous. Well, I shouldn't say ridiculous investments, but this is why the market is going crazy, because these companies are throwing hundreds of billions of dollars at companies that aren't public, and we don't really know what's going on. We have to take their word for it a bit. So I think that's what's causing a lot of the concern, and that's why we're bringing these guys back.
Why? Because the market valuation of OpenAI is 830.
Well,
That's a terrible reason to
not
bring them on.
specifically. Not
What if it was
specifically. Not specifically. But going through these valuations and going through what's going on with the stock market and going on with what people are saying about this technology, what the technology is going to do, we had to bring them back. But before we bring them back, because I'm still holding out for Denis, maybe somebody ought to let him know.
I will.
We had last week we had Shashi on from Zendesk, and we kind of talked a little bit about these. Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay.
You say his name and he shows right up. That's really good. All right. So we had Shashi on last week, and I'm not going to blow this.
Upadhyay.
Yeah, thank you. Didn't want to blow it. And we kind of were talking about, are these valuations out of hand? I mean, are the investments going into the AI infrastructure build out? Is it these numbers aren't making sense, and that's why what's going on with the market? Here's what he had to say last week, and this will hopefully get us kickstarted in our conversation today. Check out what Shashi said from Zendesk. By the way, he's the president, right?
He's the president of product, enterprise, and AI.
Yeah. So very, very good person to talk to.
2,000 people report to him.
Here it is.
I'm in November of last year, right? A second thing emerged, and I think it's actually an even bigger shock to the system than the first one. The long-running coding agents, right? So agents that can literally run for hours and hours and just build up like an entire website for you. The market's become very skeptical about who has just been a wrapper around a database. And if you're a wrapper around a database, it's going to be tough. So the large companies have been defined by having proprietary data, having unique workflows, supporting edge cases, having great distribution, having great customer relationships. Those become much more important when the price of the cost of the software itself is kind of going down to zero. My kind of take on the market is the reason like everyone's taking a hit is because it's very hard to tell from the outside who's going to come out of it and who's going to just collapse as a result of it.
All these huge numbers, and that it causes huge expectations. You wouldn't be investing these huge numbers if you didn't think the mother load is coming, basically.
Absolutely. A bulk of that is at the infra layer, right? So it's building data centers, building compute, etc. We are in the fiber build out phase of this. The big internet is still to come. And this thing is going to be, we believe, like 10 times bigger than the economic impact of the internet, right? I would argue that we're not investing enough.
Wow. We're wowed by those numbers. And he just said, may not be investing enough in this. And he was thinking general, not Zendesk specifically, but general industry investing.
Right.
All right. You want to bring everybody on, and we'll
just bring them straight on, man. They know, everyone knows them at this point.
We're gonna go the ones we like the best first. And yeah, I see another hand gesture. Anyway, welcome Ginger Conlon.
Woo, I win.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, happy to be back.
Next up, we're gonna go with Denis Prombriant. It's good to see you.
Hey, Dennis. Chief.
You're kind of got a lot of, I guess that's window light, and it's coming in the back, and it's kind of, we're not able to really see your face. If there's a light you could turn on, that'd be great, so we can see your face. We like seeing your face.
I don't know that he can hear us.
Oh, Denis, can you hear us?
Nope.
I think he had that issue last time too, didn't he?
Yes.
Yep.
Some more issue last.
All right, we're gonna put you back, and we'll let you know we can't. You must not be able to hear us, so we're gonna
in the private chat
bring you back, and we'll talk to you in the private chat. So that means, oh wait a minute, did he just say something? Hey, can you hear us, Denis?
You don't seem to have sound.
Oh, no, yeah, it's good now. We can hear you.
Yeah, but he can't hear us, which is not a good thing. Can you hear us?
Now I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Perfect. Woo!
We were worried there for a second.
Technologist.
All right, so let us bring on our third favorite.
You guys are enjoying this just a little too much, you know.
Yes, because he's been giving us nasty
Using a
hand gestures
gesture.
like throughout the whole thing.
Say curse starting with an F curse.
I should have had that
Yeah, hand gesture.
that disclaimer run, but I can't seem to find it. Anyway, he is the one and only, the irascible one. Some called him digital pestilence at one point. Didn't they?
Yeah, digital pestilence.
Yeah, something like that. He is the one and only Esteban Kolsky.
What's up, fellas?
Oh,
Dude, man. Last
you were
one? Nice, nice.
That's
Don't worry,
because
I hold no grudges.
yo, okay, yeah. Said never. All right. So
Learn Portuguese since I spent introduced Portuguese. You want to learn some Portuguese?
I can't
nah,
hear.
This means something different in Portuguese than in America.
we're just going to leave that alone at this
Yeah,
point.
I'll look it up.
All right. So I
I'll
kind of
look it
gave a little bit of a build up, or maybe a build up, or just some stupid stuff to show you guys beforehand. But anyway, we're once again, Anthropic just got a ton of money from the like 4 or 5 companies.
Yeah.
Everybody is wondering, how are these companies continuing to invest tens of hundreds of billions of dollars? No payoff in
One
sight.
statistic in there.
Oh, what's
So,
that?
Microsoft, Oracle, OpenAI announcing the earnings. Oracle, Microsoft, and somebody else announcing the earnings last week. They're going to invest $650+ billion in developing data center infrastructure.
That's combined between just the two of them.
That's what they announced. Yeah, it was Meta, Microsoft, and Oracle. Between the three of them, announced that they're going to invest this year only $650 billion in developing new data center infrastructure. So what Shashi said is actually right. We're not investing enough in the software that runs in the infrastructure. We cannot build the infrastructure and then hope that somehow something will be used there. You need to actually invest in the people that are going to be doing this. And the public models, unfortunately for today, that's where it's going. This is going to change in the next few years, but for now, the public models, OpenAI and Anthropic, are the ones going to be leveraging virtually all the build up that is happening out there. And don't forget Llama if you're going to put something that is like 20th in a race of 2. But okay.
Well, honestly, what's been intriguing to me on all of this, not the money, the valuations. I mean, again, I never pretend to be a financial expert, and I'm not, and I don't care actually that much about it. I know the business is business, but then again, I don't care about business that much. So, but the thing that interests me is the way the market itself is kind of rejiggering. So, originally it was very clear. You'd have an OpenAI, you have Anthropic, you'd have,
Grok,
Google, etc. Then you had over here, you had Salesforce and Oracle and SAP and Microsoft and ServiceNow and Adobe, which is the enterprise tech side. Then you had, Meta, which was sort of overlapping a little with Google, but at the same time, Meta was kind of on the, consumer side, et cetera. And now, if you actually look at all the conversations going on, they're all literally interspersed with each other. They're literally in competition with each other, as well as collaboration and investment in each other. And it really strikes me really interestingly that's a very large I don't know how significant it is in the long run, but it's a very large realignment of how we traditionally were viewing enterprise tech in any case.
We're undertaking a paradigm shift in computing that we haven't seen since the 1980s, to be fair. The internet was not as revolutionary as the personal computer was to the mainframe in the 1980s. And we're entering with AI, we're entering the same level of impact. The difference is from the 1980s to now, which we're talking about like 45 years later, we almost doubled the world population. So the numbers are going to be absolutely logical because there's a lot more people partaking in this paradigm shift that requires a lot more money and a lot more effort. The biggest thing, I'll shut up after this, but the biggest thing that actually was announced this week, if you're looking at the economic data, is the fact that we entered in the last year and a half in the US, which is still the world's largest economy. We enter a stagnant job market where there's no growth, no letdown. There's slow to hire model. So then we don't have the people to actually contribute to the effort that is necessary to shift the paradigm from the traditional computing to AI-led computing. This is the most troubling thing. We don't have the talent, and we are not actually looking for the talent. And the AI is not going to be able to provide that value that people expect. So 2 years from now, we're going to find ourselves in an stagnated economy at a global level if we continue this way.
Just before anybody goes,
good news.
Just before anybody goes, we did have if you can believe the jobs report that came out. I know there's a lot of apprehension around that. They did double the expectations for that. They think it was about 60,000. They came with 130,000.
Yeah, but those might be data. That was manipulated data. At the same time, the US added only 180,000 jobs for the entire year last year.
Yeah, they had that revision down. They had the revision down 800,000 something jobs, whatever. But anyway, an unemployment rate actually ticked down. All right, please, Ginger or Dennis's cat, please jump in.
Well, so it's interesting, Esteban, that you said that, because if you think about one of the things that I've come across recently a couple of times is if you're building with AI, and to be careful what you're doing, because you can cut your own hair or you can go to a barber or a stylist, and
I just did this morning.
Yeah, the result is going to be a different situation, right? Unless for some reason you are an expert, and
right.
Even experts go to other experts, right? So if, to your point, if organizations aren't not only like looking in the current job market, but especially these big companies kind of investing all the way back to like high school, middle school, just like getting kids interested and teaching them not only how to use AI, but like the things that you're doing, you need to understand what those are so you can use AI to their best benefit, right? I mean, yeah, lots of people can use AI to write a story for them, but how good is it going to be if they don't actually know how to write one and make it like a comprehensive good story, right? Then how do you edit to make sure that you've gotten this good thing? And that's just like the simplest thing. You're doing something really big,
There's a change in expectations. Sorry, Dennis. There's a change in expectation for the outcome, and this is actually going to be critical because Cloudflare, I can't remember who CEO said last week that we moved away from providing software to providing outcomes as a service, right? And a lot of people have been talking about that. The problem is when you move to outcomes as a service, when you move away from software to outcomes, then the expectations of what the outcome is what becomes more relevant. And that's where your statement has a lot more weight. If you don't know what outcomes to expect or how to measure the value or the quality of the outcome, then we're going to enter a mediocrity like we haven't seen in like generations, if not ever, in this world.
Yeah. And also, if you're doing outcomes as a service, like you better make sure that you're in control of the outcomes, because
if you say outcomes as a service, you're not, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So
yeah, you don't want to get measured on something that you can't.
It's that simple. You can have an outcome as a service. You can have an outcome, but not as a service.
Thank you.
That's a mixing of moronic statements.
Thank you.
That's a moron.
You can have any outcome you want. Dennis, let's get Dennis in here. Somebody's dog is going crazy.
Dennis.
Yeah, sorry about that. Someone walked by our front door.
Dennis, you're muted. Dennis, you're muted.
Dennis, yeah, we can't hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
It just mutes itself. I don't know. Maybe it's artificial intelligence. It knows I have nothing to say. Here's something. I haven't finished reading it, but for what it's worth, there is a interview with Anthropic's chief in the New York Times this morning with the headline, "Something will go wrong," which what I've gotten out of it so far, what I've sort of been thinking about, noodling on recently, is that we're like a bunch of kids in some ways looking for general purpose AI. And despite the fact that many experts are saying, no, general purpose AI isn't really ready yet. It's not here. We seem to want to leap over that. And one of the things that strikes me is that if we were to pay a lot of attention to that, we would be not dealing with AI for the organization, but we'd be using AI for a particular purpose. In other words, going deep instead of broad. And I think for what it's worth, for my 2 cents, I'd like to explore that.
So the interview you're talking about is the one where he said that the problem is not the model, the problem is how people use the models, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the age-old.
Yeah.
For any technology that's come out, it's always a case of how it's used, not the technology.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I use Claude, and it's also the model.
Yeah, well,
So to explore what you said, Dennis, I mean, the reason why, if you're going to use past times in the technology industry to back up what you just talked about, the reason why real cloud, not SaaS, not hosted, but real cloud, 2012 plus, right? Cloud native stuff. The reason cloud architectures took off is because they involved the ability for the first time to easily, quickly, and economically scale both up and out, which means, like you said, broad and deep, right? And I think that that's a great point that you made, but it's something that is baked into the technology already by now. The fact that we can scale both deep and broad at the same time is baked into the technology. It doesn't, in the old days, if you remember when we started with CRM, to go vertical in CRM meant hundreds of millions of dollars and years of work to create a deep verticalization. If you want to create deep verticalization with AI today, that involves a bad weekend of beer and Claude.
Well, understand what I'm saying. I agree with you. And going back just a couple of minutes to the idea of what's the user really doing and what's the user really thinking, is the user oriented towards going vertical, or is the user a little too oriented towards going broad?
Yeah, it's funny because there's the agentic side of the whole thing, which in investing in the process and flows, which theoretically the user is the person who initiated it, but they're not using it every day to do something. It's just being used, if you know what I mean. So somebody says, okay, we need you, agentic AI, to do this. See you later, do it. And I'm obviously oversimplifying. On the other hand, there's the consumer side, which is where actually 90% of this comes from anyway. Meaning the actual conversations that we're hearing about are because people are using it. And they're using it all the time. And they're basically one way or the other reflecting personal experience with it. And, look, I mean, from my standpoint, and I use it all the time and every day. At the same time, I don't assume that by any means that the technology is even close to usable without me doing something with it, right? From my standpoint, again, agentic theoretically goes against that, but not from the consumer side, right? So it's kind of a weird dichotomy, and I think to your point, Dennis, where we really are like kids with all this stuff. It's like when 12-year-olds or whatever trying to figure out, like confusing all the different conversations that are going on and generalizing them to everything. And I've heard so many conversations that don't apply to something and do apply to the other thing, and then in reverse. So I don't, honestly, at this point, from my standpoint, I don't want to say I'm,
are you saying that in addition to not knowing what they're doing, they don't know what they're saying?
Well, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
kind of.
I can sign up to
just
that.
understand one other thing that I'm really talking about is not how do we use AI to cure cancer? The question is, how do we use AI to understand this protein in what concentration in a particular cell, what it does, start to finish?
Yeah, but which one of the two statements gets funded?
Well, it depends on who's in charge of NIH, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, dude.
No, it depends on
The
Larry
funding
Ellison
goes to the
deciding
one
to
who's
live
going to cure
forever.
cancer.
Huh? No,
The funding goes to the one who's going to cure cancer.
I don't know. You know, the history of that kind of research has been very, very good at how do we trying to answer questions like how do we understand this protein better. You might have to come in and say, gee, this protein, maybe it's an amyloid protein associated with Alzheimer's disease or something. We don't really know enough about it. So how do we track it? How do we find it? How do we understand how it gets built and degraded?
I think that, I mean, we are all enterprise people. So for the enterprise, AI constitutes a revolution for the first time. You know, that this is not like evolution or innovation or disruption. This is revolution. This is like changing the way we go to market and the way we do things that we do. And I think that we don't have enough expertise on what that entails at the enterprise level to successfully carry it out. So we are actually relying on a mixture of charlatans and wannabes to get us there, which is not wrong because at least we're trying something. It would be worse if we were to say, okay, bury our head in the sand and say, oh, this is nothing. This too shall pass, just like everything else in the past has passed.
Well, yeah, you know, but you're describing a trial and error approach instead of something that's more methodical. It puts me in mind of something that Winston Churchill said during World War II. He said, "You can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else."
That was actually a great quote.
That's just, to me, looking back at the software industry, like that's just the iterative models, the trial and error. It's kind of always how it is. Oh, we're just going to throw it out there and then we'll fix it as we go. Like that's just how it is. It's always
that's always been like that for enterprise technology.
That's because those decision makers didn't major in science.
Yeah, no, that's a point.
I mean, for enterprises, we always build the parachute as we fly, or build the airplane as we fly, or change the tires as we go, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it doesn't matter which figure it is. We have always done it that way because that's just the speed of innovation that we cannot take a moment and go back. One of the most interesting things in this era of AI is the fact that in the old days, go back to CRM if you want to, right? I mean, 1993 through through 2010 roughly. CRM, at the time that CRM emerged in the market, which is where we all started, a technology cycle lasted about 15 years, which means you have about 2 or 3 years to try and then get somewhere. And then by the time you got like to 15 years, it was a 60% adoption rate and it was settled, right? That number today is down to 3 years. New technologies have a 3-year technology cycle, evolution cycle. If we don't make it happen in 3 years, something better will come along that will supersede whatever we were working on, right? LLMs were crap, continue to be crap. There's no question about it.
Have any of you watched Landman?
Oh, that's a great show.
Yeah, I love Billy Bob. So until Sam Elliott came on screen, Billy Bob was my model.
There's a scene somewhere in there where he's talking to his son, Cooper, and Cooper's just out wildcatting. Or maybe he's talking to Cammy, I don't know. And he makes the point that, wildcatting has less of a chance of success, just raw trial and error, than, I forget what he said, but it was at the moment, it was very poignant and informative to me. Even at that level, we're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall. We're trying to analyze and plan, and I think, maybe we need AI for AI to analyze and plan AI.
That's already happening.
Already.
Yeah,
but you know what? One of the going back to a comment you made about Esteban about 15-year cycle. It also took about 15 years for people to adopt the goddamn thing. That was one of the problems. CRM was a slow adoption rate. It was awful, really. It eventually took hold and eventually became what it is. But the problem with this is people are adopting it like now, right? I mean, it's like immediate. Everybody's jumped on everybody's ship, right? And it's not necessarily their own. And I'm talking about on the business level and the consumer side. So 3 years, to your point, is a really long time because the adoption rates are almost immediate, even though not necessarily wise, just immediate, because people think I got to do this, right? And I mean, to me, again, I'm glad I'm 76 and retired from all that. But, because I find a lot of it almost insane, right? Which is there's no thought going into any of it. It just,
Well, I think there's thought. I think there's thought. I think they're afraid of missing out.
Yeah,
And
but that's
no.
what I mean.
Let me just get it completely out. I think the over the last 10 or 12 years, these companies have been printing money. So money has not been the biggest issue to them. Apple would prints about 20 billion in profit every quarter. So they're just spending some of that money to cover their bases because you're right. They don't know who's the winner going to be. They don't know when it's going to happen. And they've got money to burn instead of being wrong and holding their money.
Google proposed putting out a bond for, I think it was $500 billion, which is a 100-year bond. We haven't used those since the railroad, just to give you an idea what level of change we're expecting to happen.
And they got it in how much time?
They got it together in like 2 fucking weeks. And people
are throwing the money at
I know. But this goes more to the explanation of like the times that we're living this is a paradigm shift, and we cannot address it in the same way that we address past instances of enterprise technology or technology adoption or anything. Social was not even a blip in the fucking radar of AI. I mean, what we spent in social, which at the time was supposed to be incredible, people. You'd mentioned Vala before, right? Vala, one of the things that proposed Vala to fame was he hired somebody through Twitter without looking at a resume. I don't know if you guys remember that way at the beginning when he was running an engineering team, right? And the things that we invested in social are not even a blip on the radar. I mean, you can even get. I saw the other day somebody put a seed round on VC. It's like before you even have an idea, just to prove the idea. Somebody raised a seed round for $65 million. A seed round used to be $50,000, dude.
I know.
You're getting $65 million to prove an idea.
Hey, we had Scott Beachuk on. We had Scott Beachuk on at the end of the year. He said, they used to, go in on the higher level A rounds and with bigger money, and they said that they've actually changed their model to start getting in these lower seed rounds because if they don't get in and get those investments in those kind of companies, one of them might blow up. The other, it might only just take one to blow up. So they'd rather spend it at that level as opposed to going up the higher levels because that's where the money could be made if you get it in there in time.
That was actually a smart commentary, which surprised me coming from Scott. But
come on!
Oh, come on, man!
I love Scott. I'm just kidding.
I know.
Shout out to Scott Beachuk.
Hey, what was that?
Nah, I can't do that. Not in public. It's this one. Hello, how you doing?
That's better.
But somebody mentioned revolutions. Are we ready for a revolution? Because revolutions are bloody. Revolutions are kill or be killed.
Oh, I mean,
I don't know if we're ready for that in corporate.
What did we do? Like 180,000 layoffs last year. Doesn't get any more bloody than 180,000 middle managers with no real.
Well, companies going down like Adobe, they've been in the doldrums for I don't know how long. I think 73% down from a year ago or something like that.
Don't look at the stock price as an indication of anything. That means nothing. Look at the results. Look at look at growth. Look at sustainable growth. Look at visions for the future. Look at investment in the future. Look at what Google and Gemini and Meta and Microsoft have been doing. No, Adobe has had pretty significant growth, and still it wasn't enough for people that are expecting unreasonable numbers. But if they're doing well, if they're growing well, if they're growing like 10, 15, 20% year over year consistently, and they have a good investment in the future, that's what's going to make the difference for the vendors.
I think so, but I think people are looking at this as not just a technological revolution. They're talking about business models being ruined, wrecked, like the whole monthly user seat model. People are like the companies that seem to be based on that are the ones that have had the worst in terms of the last 6 to 12 to 18 months in terms of their stock valuations.
Yeah, that's going to happen. I mean, I that to me, that's the thing. When the SaaS is dead argument, I don't think cloud is dead. I think the business models let's say they're going to be diminished severely in terms of subscription-based models, just because they're costly now. Right. Unfortunately, having been in politics all those years, when I hear the word revolution, I'm really, really cautious. I just, to me, it was a different kind of thing. So I won't respond to the fact, yes, we are, yes, we aren't. It doesn't actually matter what you call it right now, because everyone's calling it something else. And it'll only be defined to the original point that goes all the way back to what Ginger originally said, is it's going to be defined by outcomes, right? And what they are and how they impact things, and not outcomes as a service, which that is ridiculous. But it's going to be defined by outcomes, and that will tell us whether or not this will be what we all are saying it is, or trying to make it, or assuming it's going to become, or doing like for example, I always think, if I'm looking at it, when I see all the cross investment going on in these companies, that one of them is going to blow, and it's not going to destroy the technology. It's not going to destroy it might destroy the business model, but it's going to destroy that company. And the one, of course, I'm placing my bet on is OpenAI, who somehow is committed to purchases that are so far beyond anything imaginable by business. I can't believe it. But OpenAI percentage of people using OpenAI dropped from 65% to 42%. Not shocked at all. The competitors are good, right? It's not like ChatGPT was first to market, man. You know how that goes. It's like
I built all my agents in OpenAI, and now I'm in the process of moving them to Gemini because it's better. And then next
Gemini and Anthropic are both better than ChatGPT, as far as I'm concerned.
The good news is they're very, very portable. All the work that I've done on Python and prompting, I can take it from one into the other, and it's like almost
easy. In fact, I normally just cut and paste them. But the other side is that the thing we not have no time to talk about today, but we've talked about in the past, is this is all great, but power requirements, right? I mean, we're still the one. What my hope seems to rest with? China. They're putting a terawatt of power into existence every year now, right? And right now the total consumption of power in the entire world is like 10 terawatts or something like that, or 12, something like this. Not very high, and they're putting a new terawatt every year. So but it's solar for the most part, right? And so the interesting thing to me is, maybe China is going to be the savior of powering all this.
No, it's going to be Elon Musk when he goes up.
That's the other side.
Up into the galaxy and starts having data centers in space. And
look at the time.
Yeah. It is that time. It doesn't feel like it should be 4:04, but man, time is gone.
4:04 anyway. That's an error message.
Which is pretty fitting.
We should end this at 4:04,
which is pretty fitting.
Find the page.
All right, so we didn't solve anything again.
Dude, you're never gonna solve anything by talking.
But we certainly have a lot of fun talking about this stuff. It seems like
we have to have a part 3.
Well, yeah, this is going to be a running series, because this ain't stopping anytime.
It's pretty awesome. I just like the fact we're all 5 on this period. I do.
Yeah, we're all still here.
Yeah,
alive and kicking. Well, alive.
For now.
Anyway, yeah, it would have been really cool to have this kind of conversation, like face to face at a certain event. But,
yeah, well.
We can't do it. Anyway.
2 of the 5 showing up, and that's you and me, Brent.
Yeah, and we'll be too busy running around anyway. All right. So once again, this has been we got to kind of come back to this from time to time, I think, because there's no shortage of opinions here, and a lot. I find this just listening to you guys really surprisingly refreshing. It's great.
We don't do it so often.
Well, maybe we'll.
So refreshing if you saw us all the time. Oh, them again.
Well, we'll do this at some point again because it's just too. It's just like Paul said. It's a lot of fun. So
Great.
thanks once again to Ginger Conlon, Dennis Prombriant. Last and certainly not least, folks, the irascible one, the irascible Esteban. Do you like that? Do you like that? I like the irascible Esteban.
You like the irascible one or digital pest?
Good. Not.
I've been called worse, usually by exes.
Jeez.
At
And on
least it's erasable.
Wow.
Erasable, yeah.
Well, how about the untraceable?
Wow, we must be getting punch drunk here.
Yeah.
So, all right. On behalf of all those folks, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and before we can say goodbye to you, we have to say hello to Minnie.
And we will have a sort of mini surprise, even though she's not really going to be there at the event.
Yeah, she'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, and in spirit and in one other
and in
format.
swag. We don't know what.
Right.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week. Hopefully.
Yep. I think Michael Wu, right? It's next week.
Yeah, and he's not even irascible or erasable. He's just Michael Wu.
He's the quiet one.
We'll see you next week, folks. Or this could go on.
Thank you.